morning. Do you have your teacup? Let's start off just holding our teacups. Today my teacup is a little too hot. Normally I'm so excited to feel the warmth on my fingers, but I just filled it and it's a little too warm. Sometimes the feelings that we need to sit with are a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe they're really intense and it's hard to be present with them. Kind of like a teacup that's a little bit too hot to hold. But that's all right. I'm just gonna try to be here. And if it's a little too hot to hold, then I'm just gonna kind of gently come as close to it as I can. Kind of warm myself up to it, or maybe cool myself down to it. As I do that, as I get a little bit closer to this discomfort, I'm just going to take some deep breaths. I'm going to let myself smell the tea as I'm breathing. I'm going to think about the smell as I breathe it in. Maybe it's familiar. Maybe you have the same tea every time we sit down to do this. Maybe it's different every day. Neither one of those is good or bad. It just is. If it's familiar, then you can breathe it in. You can say, oh yes, this is my old friend. I know who you are. And if it's something new, you can approach it with curiosity. Ooh, what is that? Yesterday we were talking about creating space and breathing deeply as if our lungs were going to expand right to the limits of our body or even a little beyond. We were talking about that it can be hard to get space right now where we're all kind of packed into our homes. And we thought about maybe taking a day off from the news, allowing ourselves to just have a weekend and not check the news for a day. That might feel really difficult, but it might be really healthy. So if you don't think you can go a whole day without checking on the news, maybe give yourself 1 hour where you say, I'm not going to look at any media for the next hour. Not watching the news is a kind of discomfort also. Not checking your Twitter feed or Facebook or the internet, wherever, CNN, wherever you get your news, I don't know. That can be uncomfortable also, just like sitting with this slightly too hot cup of tea. And that's a discomfort that you can make friends with, that you can get close to. Maybe a little bit at a time, just like this teacup. Maybe slowly spending a little bit more time away from the news. Not irresponsibly so, but just so that it doesn't have to be a focus. And we can focus on something a little bit more deliberate. Today, Rin and I are teaching a formulation workshop, which was supposed to happen in person here in Boston, but is going to be happening online instead. And we're really excited about it, but also that's a built-in focus for us today. Something that is going to take our attention. And that's very exciting. So as you plan out your day, maybe choose something intentional to be your focus. Maybe you have a Lord of the Rings marathon or a Star Wars movie marathon. Maybe you go out for a hike. Maybe you clean the basement where your internet connection isn't very good. Or maybe you decide you're going to make a big lasagna or some sort of thing that you might have the ingredients for, but that you don't make very often because it takes a long time and a lot of effort. Or maybe you get out a 5,000 piece puzzle and focus on it. Whatever it is, maybe choose something intentional to focus on today, to allow yourself an emotional weekend. But for now, let's just finish our cups of tea, feeling the warmth of the teacup on our fingers, even if it's hot and it's a little bit discomfort, a little bit of discomfort. It's okay, I can sit with that. Smelling the aroma and taking one sip at a time, tasting the flavor of the tea in our mouths and feeling the warmth as it goes down into our bellies. Try to let yourself just sit quietly for the longest cup of tea that you can today. Just being present with each sip and allowing yourself that moment of focus. And I'll see you on Monday with a fresh cup of tea.